Yo, this video is going to help you so much with Surge. Just so you know what this video is about, it's a part of the Surge Studies series that I've been doing on this channel for quite a bit, where I go into a set lobby format tournament, for example, a League Cup weekly finals, and I'll pick a single game, and then I'll pick a couple teams and see how they deal with Surge differently in the same lobby. Okay, so into the game. In this lobby, this is going to be the zone. It's going to go bottom right, obviously. So we'll see how multiple teams deal with this one zone. So obviously Bughas and Miro, they're land chonkers. And what I'm surprised about is how early they're leaving. Like 3 minutes 50 seconds on the first zone closing is pretty fast. Especially because they're like even in zone as well. So that makes it even quicker because they don't have to rotate as far. And I assume this is just so they can claim this hill because this is what they claim. So I assume they just do that because they want to get it really quickly. Because I think they want to get some early surge on some people that might be still losing, like over there maybe. And you can notice now they're set up, and they've actually done this weird thing where Bughas claimed this one hill, and he's got a good view on that stuff, and even further out there. Miro's claimed this other half, so he can look forward over there. And I assume this is mostly for like the start like of the early position here, because he knows there's going to be a few teams like these people that are still like looting or like in the middle of the map that can get a couple tags on, and also because they want to claim the whole hill, right? Because you don't want to just claim a portion and then a team come up here and then they're going to muck your next rotator or even shoot you. The one thing that I don't kind of like, or is kind of dodgy about this spot, is that in a really stacked lobby like this, a lot of the people base up so they can see this area here. So as you can see, there's a big cluster here because they want to kind of see congested side and get surge on them. And also there's just going to be a bunch of people rotating and then sitting up on congested side. So there's going to be so many people there. And then you notice if you're sat down here on dead side, you're not going to see many people. Like there will be people, yes. That's why their spot works. There's a few teams coming in, but obviously they can't see most of the people. But I think the reason for them going here instead of going in deeper and up here is because they know this position is going to give them a really good and easy rotate in the next zone. Because say zone's predictable to kind of go down here, so zone goes down there, they know they've got a really easy rotate next zone compared to being up here. So I think they're taking the risk and the less surge so they can get this good position. And since it's so high up, they know that like that kind of makes up for like the lack of people coming through. So since they're so high up and they came so early and they can see so far, like he can even see up to here, that kind of makes up for the less amount of people. So it's kind of like a little risk to get a good position for the next rotate. Because if you just found like an average hill here or not even a really good position, you notice you probably wouldn't get enough surge sitting here. And you'll notice, on top of it being dead side to make the next rotate easier, since it's a really big high up power position, right? No one's going to be dumb enough to just rotate straight towards you and then maybe go up here and go in zone right. They're obviously going to like naturally either be like, I'll see that, and they'll just like go right and like hook all the way around, or they'll go hard left, obviously. So what you'll find is there'll just be a big clearing here around this area in the next zone because they've just like scared off all the people to go around them. So that makes the rotate even easier, especially because they've claimed the whole hill as well. And I assume they didn't farm like max mats before to give them the extra time to get here early, is because there are a bit of spare mats up here they can farm, and also they know they're going to be able to have an easy rotate to dead side and just refarm, compared to if they're over here, they won't be able to refarm because they'll just be going into congested side again and being shot by people. It seems to happen, I'm not 100% sure why. I might have a few theories on it, but it seems to happen when you're like in one of these spots on congested side. A lot of the surge is people coming in like really late, and I noticed here this is a pretty simple thing, but like it's actually pretty good. As well as also because his teammate is over here, he's in zone, so Bughas knows if he stays up here, then no one can like sit up here ahead of him and hold him. So because of that, he actually just tanks zone, which I feel like a lot of people wouldn't do. I feel like a lot of people would literally just be like, oh zone, I have to go now. But he actually stays in here and gets heaps of surge. And I assume that could be because, like, imagine you're these people coming in zone, you wouldn't expect someone to be up there. You'd be like, oh yeah, there's gonna be no one in there because they would go into zone right. So you're not gonna build or worry about them. So Bughas would find it pretty easy to get surge on these people. And also, he's not gonna get a spot this good, so he's just tanking to have the good spot for longer. As you can see, they're about 200 above, which is pretty like realistic, like for that spot, because it's like kind of in dead side. But yeah, now you can notice, since they've, like I said before, all the different things, they set themselves up in a position that's good enough for surge. So now they're decently comfortably above surge, and now they've put themselves also in a position that sacrificed the extra surge to get a good position like this, where the next rotate is really easy, as you can see. Like, look how little people there are for you to just get in center, compared to like if you're over here. Like, these people are probably only going to get like edge, and it's a really hard rotate, and they're going to have to use a heaps of mats, but they might have more surge. But I think it's way more worth it to do what Bughas did, unless there's not a good position on dead side. Okay, now we're going to watch Rokane and Chimp land Rocky, obviously. And what they do this game is they actually use the balloon up here, which is obviously going to be really good because it is so high up, and it's also rotation for the next zone. But the one thing is you can't build on it, so you're going to have to use a lot of heals because of that, because you're going to keep getting shot and having to walk around and using all your heals and stuff. But I think that's worth it. And also, a lot of people might come through and not realize they're up there, and then they can easily, like, maybe get a kill or heaps of surge at least. And I think this is really good how early they go to this. And I think that could be because if you go really early here, since you're edge, you're still going to see a bunch of people rotating in that haven't like fully looted yet. So you can still see these people coming through. In this situation, the other way they could have played it is like getting max everything and then going more central positioning. And then when second zone pulls, they can see the people rotating in the next zone and get surge on them. But they're mostly getting surge on the people that rotate now, which is interesting. Bro, I bet you the barn team hates them. And also notice here how they don't go like early, because I feel like a lot of people, they might just see zone and be like, okay, we're going instantly because they got the rotation and stuff. But if they did have heaps of surge, obviously they would have go, but I assume they haven't had much surge because they haven't been up here for that long. But also with this rotation, they can kind of sacrifice like tanking a little bit of zone and being this far away, and then just using the balloon because that gets you really far. So you can kind of just go after being tanky in the zone for a while and not matter too much. And I think this is really helpful because all these people around them don't have the luxury of having the balloon for rotation, so they have to rotate ahead of them, and they just get to sit there and look ahead of them and just shoot them while they rotate. So you see all these teams struggling to go forward and get to zone early, but they just get to sit there. And you can even notice here, this is pretty interesting. They're actually like heaps above, but they actually stay here. That could be a pretty good play because they have a bunch of whites. You can see 12 chugs, 18 chugs actually, and they know there's people around them, people at Rocky, people behind there. So they know those people might use the balloon, so if they camp this, they could maybe kill them. And also, what people don't expect coming in like this late to zone is someone to be on the balloon, especially because there's no base in the balloon and it's in zone, so like you probably just assume no one's up there. So either the team won't be bothered building or looking at it and being wary of it, and they'll just get tagged by them by AR, or they go up to it, use it, and get pumped out of the sky. So it's kind of a good stealth play sitting up here and getting surge. And they actually had spare whites in the vault for that. That's actually a really good play, to be honest. And I assume they go now once they're comfortable in zones like closed in, since they've got so much surge on that play. And now with the rotation, they get the luxury of being able to go dead side. So it's a pretty good way of getting a surge, but it uses like the meta a lot. Like I said, with Bughas, setting themselves up in a like dead side position like that will make the next zone easier to rotate to because you're not with many people.